Hey, welcome to Bourbon Bill's Pirate Bar. I'm Bourbon Bill, and today you have the luck of the Irish. In honor of St. Patrick's Day, we have 3 fantastic Irish drinks. But before we get to that, make sure you hit that subscribe, like, and hit that notify bell so when we upload new content to this channel, you'll be the first to know. And there's no blarney about that. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to our variety show. On today's show, we're going to show you 3 important St. Patrick's Day cocktails so you can kick that green beer to the curb. But before we jump into that, let's talk about Wiki Tiki magazine. It's a magazine that we publish all about tiki bars, tiki culture, and mid-century modern aesthetics. So we have a lot of great recipes, articles, and original and classic cocktail recipes in the magazine. So let's just jump right to it. Our first cocktail today is the Irish Whiskey Sour. Now it's a little variation on just a traditional whiskey sour, but it's super simple, and I'm going to show you an option a little later in it. So what you're going to need for this is just really simple. You're just going to need some lemon juice, some whiskey, some simple syrup, and an optional egg white, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So this is what we call a build drink. That means you don't really need a shaker for this one unless you're using egg white. Now, some of the older recipes, like from the Savoy cocktail recipe book, calls for egg whites, but it's kind of fallen out of use a little bit. But what the egg white does, it actually gives a little extra body to the drink, and it gives a little bit of a mouthfeel. Some people like it. Some people are concerned about, you know, undercooked eggs and raw fish and that sort of thing, and it's perfectly fine. Again, it's an option. But if you do use the egg white, you will definitely need to use a dry shaker, that is without ice, to break up that egg yolk. The egg white into the mix. So we're going to skip the egg white today, and it's just keep it very simple because we have 3 drinks to cover on the show today. So we're just going to load up our double rocks glass with some ice, and we're going to start off with 2 ounces Irish whiskey, of course. Today we're using Jameson for this one. Just pour that right in. And now next is we're going to use lemon juice. Now I'm blessed that I live in Florida. We can literally walk right outside, grab a lemon off the tree, and it's fresh squeezed. So go ahead and use fresh squeezed lemon from the grocery store. Just buy lemons. They're in season pretty much all year round, and they're readily available, and they're fairly inexpensive. So just use fresh ingredients whenever you can. So just go ahead and add 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice in that, just to give it that sour part is part of the whiskey sour. And last but not least, we're going to use a 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. Now, you can buy simple syrup at the grocery store, but let me tell you how simple it is, no pun intended. Just take a cup of water and a cup of sugar. You know, the white sugar is fine. You know, the cane sugar is actually a little better. And just throw that into a pot and bring it up to a boil, and that'll go clear. Let it come down to room temperature for safe handling, and just put it in a squeeze bottle, and it'll stay in your fridge for a couple of weeks. So again, we're just going to use just about a 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. Throw that in just to sweeten that up a little bit, almost like a whiskey lemonade, if you would. And then there's only just one last thing that we need to do. So we're just going to take our bar spoon, give that a gentle stir, and we want a presentation to be part of this too, so we'll just take a little bit of lemon We'll just a little bit of lemon peel, kind of wipe the oils onto that glass. And there you go, the Irish Whiskey Sour. Now, we have 2 more drinks, so Bill doesn't want to get started too early on this, if you know what I mean. Hey, here's a real quick St. Patty's Day. What's long and green and only shows up once a year? The St. Patty's Day Parade. All right, let's jump into our next drink. All right, now for our second drink, we're going to do a little variation on a Moscow Mule. We're going to call this one the Irish Mule. All right, now what we're going to talk about in this is very simple. Most of you are familiar with the copper mugs that Moscow Mules are served in. It actually has a couple different purposes. The copper actually is a great conductor of cold and heat, so it helps keep that drink really cold. But back in the 30s, when the Moscow Mule was originally invented, it was more of a necessity to try to come up with some new drink that would look sexy and, quite frankly, sell a bunch of copper mugs that this guy had a warehouse full of. Research, check out our video on how to make a Moscow Mule to learn more about that. All right, so let's just dive right in. So just take our drink mat, put our Moscow Mule on here. We're going to load this up with some ice. Again, this is a billed drink because we're going to be using ginger beer, and that doesn't go real well if you put that in a shaker, if you know what I mean. All right, so while I load this up, what does a leprechaun learn in school? Any ideas? He learns the alphabet. See, and you thought this was free. All right. All right, so we got that loaded up full of ice, and this time we're going to do a little variation. We used Jameson in our first drink. Today we're going to use Tullamore Dew, another great Irish whiskey. Try some different whiskeys in your drinks, and you're going to land on some that you really like and some not so much. I kind of like Tullamore Dew. I like Jameson as well. So with this one, we're going to start off with 2 ounces of whiskey. Throw that right into that beautiful copper vessel. And today we're using Gosling's ginger beer. Now, if you recall from my video on the dark and stormy, there was a lot of controversy about what really made a true dark and stormy, but we do know that Gosling makes a great ginger beer. So we'll go ahead and pop a top here. We're going to give that a good fill. 4 to 6 ounces should be plenty. You can fill it up to the top if you like. And then the last ingredient, because this is such a super quick drink to make, especially when you've got a line of friends at your bar. So just get that whiskey in there, get that ginger beer in there, and a ½ ounce of lime juice. Again, fresh is best, so just pour that right in. Take your bar spoon, just give that a gentle stir so you don't take all the carbonation out of your ginger beer. Throw a straw in that bad boy and garnish it with a lime wheel. And there you go, you have the Irish Mule. So trust me, you won't be too stubborn in getting one of these because they're very tasty. All right, let's hop over to our last drink for the day. Well, we're finally coming toward that end of the rainbow, and if you're looking for gold, well, you come to the wrong place. All right, for our third and final drink, you know, we can't talk about St. Patrick's Day or Irish drinks without the venerable Irish coffee. So again, start off with our drink mat. Now, there are inexpensive, clear Irish coffee glasses you can get almost anywhere. I've actually even seen them in the dollar store. So go ahead and get one just for, get a set just for presentation. And if not, it's just something great to have with a brunch or, you know, on a cold night. So just start off with some good stout coffee. Don't fill it all the way to the top because we got to add a few things into it. And today we're back with Jameson. And for this one, we're going to use 1.5 ounces. So we're not going to quite fill up that 2-ounce sugar. Put that right in there. And I'm going to show you how simple this is. You basically have made 2/3 of the ingredients. Now, so we're going to take 1 teaspoon of light brown sugar and put that in there and give that a good stir. Now, this is optional. You know, some people like their coffee sweet, some not so much. So add that in, just a little bit of light brown sugar. White sugar is fine, but I think the light brown sugar gives it just a little different profile. And then we're going to top that with some whipped cream. Isn't that gorgeous? Now let's talk about garnish just a little bit. All right, so this, just like it is a beautiful drink. But what if we took a stick of cinnamon and just kind of put that in there? And look at the difference in presentation that makes, you know, and how hard is that? And when that cinnamon finally falls down into the drink, it'll start seeping and give it a little bit of cinnamon taste. And if you really want to go crazy, go ahead and get yourself some Badia nutmeg and cinnamon. We prefer the Badia brand because they're gluten-free. And if you've seen Bootleg Minnie on some of our shows, you know, she has to be aware of those things. And quite honestly, Badia is a very inexpensive brand, and it's a great product. So take just a little bit of that. Today we're going to take just a little bit of nutmeg and just put right on the top, just as a little bit of garnish. And look at that. Isn't that a gorgeous drink? So there you have it. You have the triad of St. Patty's Day drinks. You have the Irish Whiskey Sour, the Irish Mule, and of course Irish coffee. So check out our other videos on this channel, and if you have any suggestions for recipes that we haven't covered already, we're coming up 80 plus episodes now, and we are so glad and humbled by your response. We have over 1,000 subscribers, so please, if you like the show, give us a thumbs up, share it, and of course subscribe to our channel. Well, that's it for today. This is Bourbon Bill at Bourbon Bill's Pirate Bar. We hope you enjoyed the show today, and cheers.